The whisper was barely audible, but it cut through the storm. "Take me home," the boy breathed, his voice cracking. The soldier froze, breath caught in his chest. His gloved hand tightened on the rifle strap. The K9, standing rigid, didn't move. Not forward. Not back. Its ears locked, its chest rising slow, frozen in some unseen signal. The boy's whisper hung in the air, soft as snow. The soldier's eyes flicked between the child and the dog, waiting for one of them to break the silence. Neither did. Then the wind shifted. The lantern flame bent sideways. From behind the broken wall came a sound, slow, deliberate. A step. And the boy's whisper came again, sharper now, trembling. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's breath stopped cold. Cut to backstory. The first whisper wasn't loud. In fact, the storm outside nearly swallowed it. But the soldier heard it, because it wasn't meant for the wind. It was meant for him. "Take me home." The boy's lips barely moved as he spoke, his voice fragile, uncertain, breaking on the edges like ice underfoot. His small hand clutched the soldier's sleeve, knuckles pale against the fabric. The soldier froze in place, boots grinding into the wooden boards of the cabin floor. And then he realized something strange. The K9 didn't move. The black shepherd stood rigid a few feet ahead, chest rising slow, ears locked forward, tail stiff as a rod. Its body was coiled, every muscle braced, but it didn't take a step toward the sound. It didn't turn back toward the boy either. It just held still, as if carved from stone. The soldier felt his breath catch in his throat. His eyes flicked between the boy and the dog, then toward the doorway where the storm rattled against warped hinges. The lantern flame on the table bent sideways, its light stretching long shadows across the cracked walls. "Take me home," the boy whispered again, softer this time. His face tilted upward, dust streaked across pale cheeks, eyes glimmering in the dim light. His voice trembled with something deeper than cold. It was longing. It was fear. The soldier's jaw tightened. He adjusted his grip on the rifle strapped across his shoulder, his fingers flexing once on the worn leather strap. He had spent years in places where whispers never meant safety. He had learned that silence was rarely empty, and stillness often meant something worse than movement. The shepherd let out a low growl. Not loud. Not savage. Just a steady vibration, like an engine rumbling under the boards. It didn't blink. Didn't break its stance. Its body was a wall, separating the soldier and the boy from whatever lay beyond the shadows. The soldier dropped to one knee beside the boy, his voice low, steady. "You stay close. Don't speak unless I ask you to. Understand?" The boy nodded, but his eyes were locked on the dog, wide and uncertain. The soldier listened. Beyond the storm pressing at the cabin walls, there was something else. Faint. A shift of weight. A breath not their own. He scanned the corners, the black angles where lantern light didn't reach. He had fought men in the dark. He had tracked worse. But this silence felt different. The shepherd suddenly barked, one violent snap of sound that cracked the air like thunder. The boy flinched into the soldier's chest, muffling a sob. The dog didn't move forward, though, it held its ground, body rigid. The soldier steadied the boy with one hand, his eyes locked on the door. His breath came slow, controlled. "Why won't he move?" the boy whispered, voice trembling, eyes still on the shepherd. The soldier's jaw clenched. "Because he knows something we don't." The wind outside shifted, howling through the cracks in the walls. The lantern flickered harder, flame bending until the room swam in orange shadows. Dust swirled near the floor, carrying the scent of old wood and something else, something damp, raw, like earth freshly turned. The boy pressed closer, his small voice breaking into a new whisper. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's stomach tightened. He gripped the rifle, knelt lower, and whispered back, firm but steady, "Not while I breathe." The shepherd's growl deepened, chest rumbling louder now. Its gaze stayed fixed on the darkness ahead, ears straining, body trembling with the tension of a held command. The soldier rose slowly, pulling the boy behind him. His boots scraped against splintered floorboards, rifle shifting across his chest as he readied himself. His eyes locked on the doorway, waiting for the storm to move again. The wind stilled. Just for a breath. And in that silence, the soldier heard it. A second whisper. Not from the boy. From the dark. "Take me home." The soldier's pulse hammered. His chest locked tight. He felt the boy's grip tighten on his sleeve. The shepherd barked again, louder this time, teeth bared, echo bouncing off the cabin walls. The soldier raised the rifle, sighting into the dark, but saw nothing but shifting shadows. His voice came rough, low, a growl to match the dog's. "Not her. Not him. Not anyone. You don't get him." The boy's whisper came again, sharp now, panicked. "That's not me." The soldier's breath tore jagged from his lungs. His finger tightened on the trigger. The cabin creaked as if the walls themselves leaned closer. The storm outside roared back, rattling the shutters. The shepherd snarled, teeth flashing, every muscle ready to strike but still refusing to take that one step forward. The soldier's eyes locked on the darkness, his voice shaking the silence. "If you were me, would you fire into what you can't see, or wait for it to show itself?" The shadows didn't answer. Not with words. But the whisper came again, layered now, distorted, as if carried by more than one mouth. "Take me home." The boy clutched the soldier tighter, burying his face in the coat. The soldier steadied his aim, his breath caught between choice and fear. The lantern flame bent flat. And something shifted in the corner of the room. Open. The corner of the room shifted like it had exhaled. The soldier snapped the rifle toward the sound, body moving on instinct. The boy gasped against his coat, his grip clenching tighter. The shepherd didn't move forward, but its growl sharpened, a constant vibration that pressed against the soldier's nerves like static. For a moment, nothing followed. Only the storm outside, shaking the old cabin frame, snow sweeping through cracks in the shutters. The lantern sputtered, spitting sparks before its flame straightened again. The soldier's breath fogged in front of him, the only motion in the room. He stayed braced, his finger tense against the trigger. He didn't trust what he had heard. Whispers had a way of bending themselves into whatever shape fear demanded. But the boy's voice, the real one, was trembling at his side. That was what he clung to. The child lifted his face, pale and streaked with dust. His whisper was softer now, almost hidden. "Don't let him find me." The soldier lowered his head, his words grounding both of them. "Not while I'm here." The shepherd barked once, a sharp crack that made the lantern flame dance. Its body remained frozen, as if some invisible line had been drawn at its paws, a threshold it refused to cross. The soldier risked a glance toward the floor. The boards beneath the bed had darkened, edges warped with damp. A thin line of frost pushed through the seams, climbing like veins. The smell rose next, soil, wet and raw, as though the cabin sat on ground freshly torn open. He swallowed hard, pulling the boy tighter behind him. The canine growled again, louder now, teeth flashing white in the orange glow. The soldier steadied his rifle. His voice cut into the dark, steady but edged. "You're not taking him." The corner answered. Not with a word. With a sound, faint dragging, like nails against stone. It pressed slow across the boards, circling, but never stepping into the lantern light. The boy whimpered, muffling his face into the soldier's coat. The soldier kept his eyes forward, every muscle wound tight. His pulse hammered in his ears. "Stay behind me," he told the child. The boy nodded, though the motion was buried in trembling. The soldier's boots creaked against the floor as he shifted his stance, moving slowly to put his back against the dresser by the wall. The old wood groaned but held. He braced the boy between himself and the corner of the cabin, rifle steady. The shepherd held its ground, chest low, throat rumbling. It wasn't fear. It was calculation. Whatever was in that corner, the dog refused to meet it head-on. The soldier felt the weight of choice again, move first, or wait. The whisper came once more. Not from the boy. From everywhere. Take me home. The words slid across the boards, stretched thin, broken at the edges. This time they carried weight, like breath pressing against his neck. The boy cried louder, his small hands digging into the soldier's sleeve. That's not me. The soldier roared back into the dark, his voice breaking the air like the dog's bark had. Then stop using his voice. The cabin creaked hard, timbers flexing. Dust poured from the ceiling beams, drifting like snow in the lantern light. The soldier's breath came sharp, chest burning. His finger twitched on the trigger. Then he heard it again, not words, but rhythm. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Each one sinking into boards that didn't belong to them. The shepherd barked again, savage, muzzle snapping toward the sound. The soldier's aim tracked the corner, jaw locked. He could hear his own heartbeat between each step. The boy whispered into his sleeve, voice tearing. Please. The soldier pressed his jaw to the child's hair, whispering back, fierce but steady. I've got you. The boards groaned louder. A shadow shifted just beyond the lantern glow, taller than the doorframe, shoulders bent. The soldier steadied his rifle, sight locked, body braced. The shepherd didn't move. It didn't step forward. But its growl was constant, vibrating through the boards. The soldier's voice tore free, louder than the storm outside. If you were standing where I am, would you fire now, or wait until it's closer? The dark didn't answer. It breathed. The boy screamed, clutching harder. And then the lantern flame bent flat, snapping sideways as if pulled by a hand. Something was in the room. The lantern's flame stayed pinned sideways, hissing like it wanted to go out. The draft wasn't random anymore, it had direction. It breathed from the floor, not the door. The soldier tracked it with his eyes, then with his hand, 2 fingers hovering an inch above the boards, following the thin ribbon of cold that slid along the grain toward the far wall. The shepherd held its ground exactly on that invisible boundary. Its paws were planted, claws flexed but not scraping. The dog's body didn't shake. It wasn't fear, it was refusal. Every line of it said, here is the edge. The boy pressed closer to the soldier's hip. Don't let him find me. The words barely rose from his throat, they seemed to rest there, like he was saving the rest of his breath for something worse. I won't, the soldier said. The vow had weight, the kind that anchors your boots without asking. He eased the rifle strap off his shoulder and set the lantern on the floor, cupping its glass to keep the flame alive. The boards around it showed a scatter of grit that looked ordinary until he blew across it. The dust didn't lift straight up. It peeled sideways, drew itself toward the gap beneath the dresser and the baseboard seam where the wall met the floor. He smelled it now, under the wet wood and old smoke, something sharp, chemical, like solvent sunk into grain. The shepherd's head turned a hair. Ears up. Then still again. The soldier slid a glove blade, thin, flat, the kind carried by men who fix more than they break, into the seam along the baseboard. He didn't pry yet. He tested. The edge met resistance that wasn't wood. It clicked against something that vibrated, faint and tight. Fishing line. His jaw hardened. He traced the line by touch. It ran under the board toward the corner where the dark pressed thickest. Not a snare for the dog's legs, too low. Not meant to lift anything, the tension read sideways. He pictured a small device anchored in a crawlspace, cheap, mean, and careless. The kind a man builds when he wants to spook pursuit more than he wants to survive. The boy tugged his sleeve. "He told me to be quiet," the child whispered, eyes glassy. "Said the house was safer when it listens." "Who told you?" the soldier asked, still tracing, still listening. The boy swallowed, throat working. "He said not to say his name." The soldier nodded once, like receiving a report he already knew. He glanced at the shepherd. The dog's gaze didn't flicker. It had found the same thing a different way: nose, air, the read of tension in a room. The dog wouldn't cross because something was waiting to reward the first step. A faint scrape sounded from beneath the floor. Not a body, too small. Plastic on wood. Then a soft, digital chirp. The soldier's head angled. Battery. A phone. The whisper rolled out from under the boards, clear enough to be in the room with them. "Take me home." It was the boy's voice. The precise rasp, the same break on home. Not echo. Not ventriloquism. A recording. The chirp had been the phone checking a connection, or dying. The shepherd's growl deepened, a low sandpaper sound. The boy flinched, then looked up at the soldier, hope and fear in a single expression. "That's not me," he said quickly, as if it were a test he had to pass. "I know," the soldier said. He meant it. He slid the knife a fraction deeper, feeling for staples, nails, slack. The fishing line shifted under tension, humming a note only his glove could hear. He imagined a trigger, a jar, a match head, a strip of flash cotton, or just a can of solvent waiting to spill into lantern light. Not clever enough to pass for an accident, but clever enough to take the first man who didn't listen to his dog. He moved the lantern farther back, outside the draft. The flame straightened. The room's shadows calmed half a degree. He pulled the boy behind his leg, then pointed with 2 fingers. "Stay. Hands on my coat." The child obeyed instantly. The shepherd's eyes shifted to him and back, a quick inventory. Then the dog's nose dipped, nostrils working, catching a thread of scent that made the lip lift a millimeter. The soldier leaned to the corner where the dresser's back met the wall. The floor dipped there, the old houses always did, and this one had been pressed by weight. He set the knife aside, gripped the dresser's edge, and tested its give. Half an inch. Then an inch. It had been bolted once, the bolts were gone. He eased it outward, careful not to tug the line he couldn't see. The recording under the floor played again, shorter this time, as if the file were failing. "Take me," a click cut it off. Then the other whisper, the one the boy had said first, came back from somewhere deeper, "Don't let him find me." The soldier looked down at the child. The boy shook his head. "Not me now," he whispered, near soundless. "He says it. Sometimes like me. Sometimes like him." "Like who?" The boy's mouth tightened. "The one who brought me here." The soldier put a hand on the dresser and pushed. The heavy wood slid with a tired sigh, revealing 2 things at once: a narrow, low hatch cut through the baseboard, and a taut line of monofilament running from the hatch into the dark, wrapped twice around a small metal pin. The shepherd took a step sideways to get a better angle on the hole and then stopped dead, as if an order had fixed it mid-stride. The dog didn't look at the soldier for permission. It waited for the room to make a mistake. The soldier crouched. The hatch had been cut with a cheap saw and patience, the edges were raw. He could get a hand in, but not a forearm. He took the knife, slid the flat edge under the pin's notch, and studied the line's path. It disappeared over a small roller, handmade from a door hinge, then into the crawlspace void. He tapped the hinge with the back of the blade. It rattled softly. Not wired. Mechanical, not electric. He let his breath out slow, almost a whistle. He pinched the line between blade and wood to take some weight, then lifted the pin just enough to feel what held beyond. The line trembled, something small shifted far inside. Jar. He pinned the line again and felt the room like a map. Lantern away. Boy behind the leg. Dog covering the hole, not crossing. Wind in through door cracks. Out through hatch? No, the draft came the other way. Air was being pulled in. Crawl space vented outside. If a jar spilled, the fume would go out. Unless the line had a second job. He looked up at the boy. If I tell you to close your eyes, you close them. If I say down, you get low and stay behind the dog. Understand? The boy nodded, eyes huge. He took the line and the knife again, lifted the pin half an inch, and felt the hinge roll smooth. The line's tension eased. Nothing spilled. Nothing burst. He exhaled once more and raised the pin fully, then laid it gentle in the dust. The recording chirped. Then the whisper came one more time, thin and failing, "Take me H." Silence. He eased the line onto the blade and drew an inch of slack toward him, slow enough to feel everything it wanted to do. The hinge rolled. A small glass clink sounded inside. No spill. He drew another inch. Then another. The shepherd's ears snapped toward the doorway. The shepherd hit the door before it fully opened. Wood cracked, the latch snapped free, and a figure stumbled backward into the storm light. Snow rushed in with the cold, carrying the smell of wet leather and sweat. The soldier was already pivoting, rifle shouldered, boy tucked behind his hip. The intruder raised an arm against the dog's jaws. Teeth found fabric and flesh anyway. The shepherd clamped down with a sickening crunch, dragging the man sideways into the threshold. A muffled shout broke into the wind. The soldier didn't fire. He didn't need to, not yet. He held the rifle steady, voice sharp. "Hold!" The canine froze, teeth still buried, growl vibrating through its chest. Its eyes never left the man's face. Snow swirled into the lantern light, dusting the boards, blinding for half a second before settling. The intruder's hood had fallen back. A gaunt face appeared, early 40s maybe, scar down one cheek, eyes bloodshot and frantic. His breath steamed in the cold air, ragged. "Call him off," the man rasped, voice catching in his throat. "He'll tear me." "You came through that door quiet," the soldier cut in, tone cold. "Not storm-lost. Intentional." The man's mouth trembled. "I was, just." The boy clutched tighter at the soldier's coat. His voice cracked, sharp and sudden. "That's him." The shepherd's growl deepened. The soldier's jaw set. He nudged the boy back with his boot, keeping his body between them. Rifle leveled, he moved closer to the man pinned against the doorframe. "Arms out," the soldier ordered. The man obeyed, slow, palms trembling in the snow dust. Blood seeped where the dog's teeth tore through sleeve and skin. His eyes darted toward the corner, where the fishing line still ran under the floorboards. The soldier caught the glance. He barked sharp. "Don't look at it again." The man swallowed, Adam's apple jerking. I was just trying to keep him quiet." The boy. He wouldn't stop whispering. "Take me home," the soldier snapped. The man's lips twitched, but he didn't answer. The boy's voice cracked again, urgent this time. He said, "Help me." Over and over. His hands shook where they gripped the coat. His eyes burned with terrified clarity. "That's what he says." As if to echo him, a whisper rolled low from beneath the floorboards. Not mechanical this time. Not recorded. Urgent, direct, pushing through the dark. "Help me." The soldier's gut nodded. The man flinched. "I didn't." "Shut it," the soldier growled. He didn't take his eyes from the man, but his ears marked the floor. The whisper had changed tone, no longer mimicry, no longer soft. It was demand. The shepherd's teeth sank deeper into the intruder's arm until the man winced, knees buckling. The soldier spoke low, the kind of voice that could stop a fight before it started. "You rigged that line. What does it trigger?" The man shook his head fast. "Nothing serious. Just noise. Scare tactics." "Noise doesn't need fishing line and solvent," the soldier said. He pressed the rifle muzzle forward an inch, close enough that the man felt its weight. The man's eyes darted again toward the hatch. He was lying. The whisper came sharper, cutting the air like a blade. "Help me." The boy trembled against the soldier's hip, voice breaking in fear. "Don't listen. It's not me." The soldier's decision came fast. He jerked his chin. "Dog, hold." The shepherd didn't release. It locked down harder, dragging the man to one knee. The soldier moved past them, rifle still trained, toward the hatch. The line hummed faintly where the knife pinned it. He crouched, tested the slack again. Still tensioned. Still ready to spill whatever waited. He drew a slow breath. Then louder, to the man, "If you're lying, you don't walk out." The man spat blood into the snow on the threshold. His words came ragged. "You think I wanted him? He followed me." He wouldn't stop saying it. The soldier didn't answer. He slid the knife deeper under the line, easing pressure, feeling the hinge respond. The jar clinked again. The whisper rose in tandem, closer now, filling the crawlspace. "Help me." The boy pressed his face into the soldier's coat, sobbing. "That's not me." The soldier's grip tightened. His mind split between three fronts: the trap in the floor, the boy at his side, the intruder half in the dog's teeth. The storm hammered the shutters harder, snow driving sideways through cracks, cold pressing sharp into every breath. He steadied himself with the one rule that had carried him through darker places than this: control what you can see, anticipate what you can't. He adjusted the knife, pinning the line harder, locking it. The jar stayed still. He rose, rifle back to his shoulder, and barked the order. "Dog, drag him in." The shepherd heaved backward, hauling the man off balance and into the room. Boards cracked under the weight, snow scattering across the lantern's glow. The soldier kicked the door shut with a boot, sealing the storm out again. The man collapsed onto the floor, gasping, arm torn, blood dripping through fabric. The dog stood over him, muzzle red, growl steady. The soldier aimed the rifle down at him. "Talk. Now." The man's voice shook, more from fear than blood loss. He whispers. "You hear it, don't you?" He doesn't stop. "Take me home. Help me." Over and over. I tried to quiet him. The boy screamed back, louder than before, face red. "That's not me." The soldier's gut twisted. He had fought men who used mines, decoys, children as shields. He had heard cries twisted for leverage. But never like this, never echoes that bled into wood and air. The whisper came again, urgent, demanding. "Help me." The shepherd barked once, savage, snapping at the air above the hatch. Dust rained down from the ceiling. The soldier tightened his grip on the rifle, his voice cutting through the storm of noise. "If you were me, would you trust the boy's voice, or the one begging under the floor?" The man on the boards groaned, clutching his torn arm. The boy sobbed harder, shaking. The shepherd bared its teeth, locked on the hatch. The whisper filled the room, louder than before, urgent, pulling at them. "Help me." The lantern guttered low. And the floorboards along the dresser split an inch wide. The crack in the floor spread with a sharp report, like timber splitting in winter. The soldier felt the vibration run up through his boots. The boy yelped, clutching his coat harder, and the shepherd shifted stance, dragging the wounded man deeper into the cabin. The dog planted itself between the hatch and the child, hackles raised like wire bristles. The soldier's eyes tracked the widening seam. Dust rose in a faint sheet, carrying with it the sharp stink of soil mixed with something metallic, like rusted iron soaked in solvent. The lantern light flared against the moving air, flame bending flat before recovering. From the gap came the whisper again, sharper, more desperate. "Help me!" The boy shook his head violently, his face streaked red and pale all at once. "That's not me." His voice cracked, breaking through sobs. "I don't sound like that." The intruder groaned, pressing a hand against his bleeding arm where the shepherd's teeth had torn through. He coughed once, then rasped, "He doesn't know, soldier. You can't tell the difference until you've heard it too long." The soldier's jaw set. His voice came out steady, clipped. "You're saying it copies?" The man nodded, blood dripping between his fingers. "First soft. Then urgent. Then it doesn't stop until you start to believe it." His eyes darted to the hatch, then back. "Don't believe it." The soldier didn't trust him. But the boy's grip on his coat, that was real. The heat of his small hands, the stutter of his breath. That was proof enough. The shepherd snarled again, stepping once toward the crack. Its body blocked the boy completely, a wall of muscle and intent. The soldier raised his rifle, sighting the widening seam. The boards flexed. A pale hand shot upward, fingers clawing at the air. The shepherd lunged, snapping jaws around the wrist, bone crunching under teeth. The hand tore free with a shriek muffled by wood. Dust poured upward as the crack widened to a jagged foot across. The soldier barked an order. "Dog, back!" The shepherd obeyed instantly, retreating a step but never lowering its snarl. Blood dripped from its muzzle, painting the boards. The boy whimpered against the soldier's side, eyes locked on the dark gap. From beneath, voices rose together. Not one, not two, but many, overlapping in broken unison. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The soldier's gut clenched. His rifle remained steady, but his throat tightened. He had been in firefights that didn't sound this chaotic. The intruder rasped again, weaker now. "You hear them, don't you? Too many to count. That's what they want, you to lose track of which one is real." The boy screamed back, voice shrill. "I'm real. I'm right here." The soldier bent lower, his voice sharp, grounding. "And I know that. Don't let them take that from you." The crack deepened. Another hand pressed upward, nails scraping. Then another, shoving, knuckles pale, reaching. The shepherd barked savage, a thunderclap in the small cabin. The boy clung tighter, sobbing. The soldier steadied his rifle, sight centered on the shifting dark. His mind split paths. He could try to collapse the boards back in, impossible under the storm's weight. He could shoot down into the dark, might buy time, might waste rounds. Or he could force them out the door, into the storm's white. He swallowed, calculating in silence. Then his voice cut through the noise, aimed more at himself than anyone else. "If you were in my boots right now, would you stay in this cabin with the floor giving way, or drag them both into the storm and take your chances out there?" The boy looked up at him, wide-eyed, searching. The intruder groaned, clutching his arm, head shaking. The shepherd didn't move, didn't break its stare. The voices below surged louder, urgent, desperate. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The soldier exhaled slowly, lowering his weight into his stance. He kept the rifle trained on the seam, eyes narrowing. "Dog," he commanded low. "Guard." The shepherd shifted forward a half-step, shoulders low, muzzle dripping, eyes locked on the crack. The boy stayed behind the soldier's leg, trembling but holding. The intruder's voice came again, faint, ragged. "You can't save both." The soldier ignored him. His grip on the rifle tightened. The lantern guttered. Shadows danced across the ceiling beams. The whispers rose once more, overlapping until the sound became a single ragged demand. "Help me!" The soldier's jaw locked. "Not while I breathe." The floor buckled again, wood cracking like ribs. The crack widened again, the boards bowing under pressure from below. Splinters snapped, sharp like breaking bones. Dust spiraled upward, mixing with the storm air that seeped through the cabin's joints. "Help me!" The whisper surged again, more frantic now. Not one voice, not two. A dozen at once, each carrying the same ragged urgency. It rolled through the floorboards, pressed into the walls, soaked into the soldier's ribs. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The shepherd barked so violently that the lantern shook on the boards. Its muzzle dripped blood, chest heaving with snarls. It planted itself over the widening seam, teeth snapping at every pale hand that clawed upward. The boy screamed, clutching the soldier's coat tighter. His voice cut sharp through the layered whispers. "Stop them! Please!" "I've got you," the soldier growled, forcing his own fear down into something cold and useful. His rifle sight tracked the hands, firing once, twice. Bullets slammed into pale wrists, snapping fingers back. The board shook from the impacts, dust raining from the rafters. The intruder groaned from where the dog had dropped him. His hand pressed tighter against the bleeding arm. His eyes gleamed fever-bright, darting between the soldier and the crack. "You're wasting ammo," he rasped. "You can't kill them all. They don't stop." The soldier turned the rifle half an inch toward him. "Then why are you still breathing?" The man froze, swallowing hard. Another hand burst upward through the crack. The shepherd lunged, jaws clamping on bone, dragging it sideways until it snapped with a wet crunch. The boy sobbed, pressing his face into the soldier's coat, refusing to look. "Help me!" The whispers rose louder, frantic now, no longer soft but shouting, desperate. "Help me!" The soldier's mind split again. If he stayed here, the floor would give, pulling them into whatever waited below. If he ran into the storm, he risked losing control of the boy in whiteout snow. And the dog? The dog would never abandon either. The intruder's voice cut again, lower this time, sly under the rasp. "They don't want him. They want you. Give him to me, I know how to end it." The shepherd spun from the crack, snarling, teeth flashing at the man. The soldier's eyes narrowed. "Say that again." The man licked blood from his lip, trembling. "You can't protect both. Let me take the boy. I'll lead them away. You walk out with your dog alive." The boy shrieked, sobbing harder, his hands shaking against the soldier's coat. "Don't let him. Help me," the chorus pounded again, frantic, furious. The soldier pressed the boy tighter against him, his free hand bracing the child's head into his chest. His voice came low, steady, cutting through panic. "You're not going anywhere with him." The man's eyes flashed, desperate. He shifted, trying to crawl toward the hatch. The shepherd lunged, clamping onto his leg, dragging him back with a savage shake. Blood smeared across the boards. The man screamed, voice breaking. "You don't understand. They only stop if someone gives them what they want." The soldier stepped closer, his rifle muzzle pressing cold against the man's temple. His jaw clenched, every word sharp. "What do they want?" The man froze, trembling, eyes wide. "Help me! Help me!" The whispers bled up through the crack again, louder, more frantic. Hands clawed higher, nails screeching against wood, tearing splinters free. The floor buckled, a joist snapping under strain. The shepherd barked again, savage, trying to hold ground. The soldier's heart pounded like a drum. His body felt split between three pulls, the boy's desperate sobs against his chest, the shepherd's fight at the crack, and the intruder's poison words seeping into the air. The man gasped, bloodied lips trembling. They want a choice. The soldier froze, eyes narrowing. The boy sobbed, voice muffled against his chest. Don't let them find me. Help me, the voices shrieked again, louder, distorted, as if the word itself were tearing. Help me! The lantern flared, then guttered, the flame bending flat against the draft. The soldier felt the moment tilt, like the air had decided something before he had. He shoved the rifle harder into the man's skull, voice breaking with steel. If you're lying, I'll drop you in myself. The man's mouth twisted into a blood-smeared grin. Then you'll learn the same way I did. The boards at the soldier's feet split wide enough to show the dark void beneath. Pale arms surged upward, reaching, clawing, nails raking air. The shepherd slammed down, teeth snapping, holding the line with pure fury. The boy screamed into the soldier's chest. Don't let them take me. The soldier's voice roared back, louder than the storm outside, louder than the whispers below. Not while I breathe. The floor gave another sharp crack. Dust poured upward. The chorus shrieked again, frantic and endless. Help me! Help me! Help me! The intruder laughed then, high and cracked, like a man who'd already fallen too far. You can't hold it forever. You'll have to choose. The shepherd barked again, muzzle dripping, eyes blazing. The boy sobbed harder, trembling. The soldier pressed him tighter, rifle still steady. The floor bent lower, wood crying under strain. And then, silence. The whispers cut off all at once. The soldier's breath caught in his throat. The shepherd froze mid-snarling. Even the boy's sobs hiccuped quiet. The intruder's eyes widened, then narrowed, lips curling in dread. The storm outside dropped to a low moan. The only sound left was the faint drip of blood across the boards. Then a new whisper rose, clearer, sharper, pressed right into the soldier's ear. Choose. The single whisper clung to the soldier's ear like frostbite. Choose. The silence that followed was heavier than the storm, heavier than the fractured floor. It pressed into the cabin walls, squeezed into every space where air should have been. The soldier's chest rose slow, his breath steaming in the lantern light, his finger flexed tight against the trigger. The boy trembled in his grip, face buried against his coat. The shepherd stayed locked over the widening crack, blood dripping from its muzzle, shoulders low and rigid. The intruder sat on the floor, one hand clamped against his ruined arm, eyes wide and wet, as though even he didn't expect what came next. Then the voices returned. Not one. Not two. All of them. Help me. Take me home. Don't let him find me. Help me. Overlapping, layered, distorted, until the words became more pressure than sound. Some high and broken, some low like growls, some stretched thin like tape played too slow. They echoed against the rafters, slipped beneath the boards, and pressed from the walls. The shepherd barked savage, lunging at the crack again. Its jaws snapped on another hand, bone crunching under teeth. The voices didn't falter. Help me. Take me home. Don't leave me. Help me. The boy screamed, his small voice fighting to be heard. That's not me. That's not me. His sobs tore raw. His fists struck weakly against the soldier's coat, desperate for him to believe. I know, the soldier rasped back, pulling him tighter, anchoring him against the storm of noise. The intruder laughed suddenly, high and cracked, like a man undone. You see it now. You can't tell anymore, can you? Which one's him? Which one's the floor? Which one's the wall? The soldier swung the rifle muzzle an inch toward him. His voice came out low, steel hard. Shut your mouth or I'll let the dog finish. The man kept laughing, blood streaming down his torn sleeve. His eyes gleamed like he'd found relief in chaos. They don't stop. They never stop. Not until you give them someone. The soldier's jaw locked. He forced his mind past the noise, past the man's madness. He steadied on what mattered, the warmth of the boy's grip, the steadiness of the dog's stance. The rest was distraction. The whispers overlapped louder, distorted now, bending in ways no throat should make. "Help me. Don't let him. Take me home." The boards buckled again, the crack yawning wider. A section of floor gave entirely, crashing into the void below. Cold air surged upward, carrying the stench of earth and iron. The lantern flickered violently, nearly snuffed. The shepherd lunged forward, snapping at the new gap, dragging another pale hand down into the dark. It shook its head, teeth flashing, until the wrist tore free. The body below shrieked, lost in the roar of whispers. The boy shrieked, burying his face deeper into the soldier's coat. His voice was muffled but desperate. "Make it stop." The soldier grit his teeth, eyes fixed on the growing void. His voice roared above the chaos. "You want me? Then come for me." The whispers surged louder, distorted into screams. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" They layered until the word itself broke apart, each syllable scraping like metal on stone. The intruder dragged himself backward, laughing through blood and fear. "You've already chosen. You're just too stubborn to see it." The shepherd barked again, savage, chest heaving with effort. Its claws dug grooves into the boards as it fought to hold ground. The boy sobbed harder. His small hands clawed at the soldier's coat. "Don't let them take me." The soldier pressed him tighter, his jaw against the boy's hair, voice breaking but steady. "Not while I'm breathing." The voices overlapped louder still, the cabin vibrating under the force of it. "Don't let him. Help me. Take me. Please." Each phrase crashed into the next until they became noise more than words. The soldier's ears rang, his skull throbbed. He grit his teeth until his jaw ached. The lantern guttered again. The flame shrank to a blue pinprick. Shadows swallowed the walls. The intruder screamed suddenly, his laughter breaking into terror. He pointed with his good arm toward the soldier, eyes wide and wild. "They're not after him. They're after you." The whispers crashed together in one distorted chorus. "Choose." The boy's cry tore the air, raw, breaking. "Don't let them." The shepherd lunged at the crack again, snapping jaws echoing like rifle shots. The floorboards shrieked, bending lower. Dust and splinters poured upward. The soldier's voice ripped free, louder than the storm, louder than the whispers, a vow against all of it. "Then I choose him. I choose the boy." The whispers didn't stop. They screamed louder. "Choose. Help me. Take me." The lantern went out. Darkness swallowed the cabin. Darkness filled the cabin, so thick it pressed against their skin. The lantern's last has faded, leaving only stormlight leaking through the shutters, pale and cold. The whispers didn't stop. They swarmed. "Help me. Take me home. Don't let him find me. Please. Choose." Overlapping, breaking, distorted until the walls themselves seemed to speak. The sound pressed into the soldier's ears, throbbed in his skull, made his vision pulse with white sparks. The boy clung tighter, sobbing into his coat. "Make it stop." His voice was nearly lost under the chorus. The shepherd roared, one long, savage bark that cut through for half a second. It lunged at the widening crack again, teeth clamping on a pale arm, shaking until bones snapped. The shriek that followed wasn't human, wasn't animal, but it was drowned instantly by more whispers. The intruder crawled backward into the corner, face smeared with blood, laughing and crying all at once. "Do you hear them? Do you feel it? They'll tear it apart board by board until there's nothing left. You can't hold this ground." The soldier pivoted, shifting the boy behind him, rifle raised. His voice ripped out like a command in battle. "Dog!" Guard! The shepherd obeyed, planting itself square across the hatch, every muscle trembling, chest heaving, muzzle red with blood. Its growl was constant now, a wall of sound against the chorus. The floor buckled again. A joist gave way, snapping with a gunshot crack. Half the boards slanted inward, tilting toward the dark void below. The boy shrieked, sliding, and the soldier caught him with one arm, jerking him back against his chest. The whispers screamed louder. "Help me! Don't let him! Please! Choose!" The soldier's head pounded. His breath burned in his lungs. He pressed the boy tight to him, his rifle steady in one hand, the other bracing the child. The intruder's voice broke through, high and cracked. "You can't save both. Either him or yourself, make the choice, soldier." The soldier's jaw locked. He turned his face into the boy's hair, whispering low, steady despite the chaos. "I've already chosen." The boy's sobbing stilled for a heartbeat, his small fists gripping harder. The shepherd barked again, snapping at the void, dragging another pale hand downward. Its claws tore grooves into the boards, refusing to give ground. The whispers bent in pitch now, words distorting into noise, some shrieking, some rumbling low. It was less like speech, more like pressure, a storm inside the room. "Help me, help me, help me. Take me. Choose." The soldier felt the cabin tilt again. His boots slipped an inch toward the dark. He forced himself lower, grounding his weight, pulling the boy higher against his chest. His voice roared into the void, louder than the whispers for a single breath. "You want me? Then you'll have to take me." The intruder screamed laughter, rocking against the wall. "That's what they want. That's all they've ever wanted." The boy sobbed harder, muffled. "Don't go. Don't leave me." The shepherd spun, snarling at the soldier's side, as if sensing the shift in him, as if warning. The soldier met the dog's eyes through the dark. He saw the same thing he felt, the line between impossible choices. He lowered his head to the boy, pressing his voice into the child's ear, steady, grounding. "If you were me right now, would you keep fighting in the dark or run into the storm and pray the snow takes us before the floor does?" The boy didn't answer. He sobbed harder, face pressed to the soldier's coat. "Choose," the whispers screamed again, layered into a wall of sound. "Help me." The floor lurched lower. Dust poured upward like smoke. The boards cracked again, splitting wider. The shepherd leapt, jaws clamping another arm, dragging it sideways. Its snarl was guttural, furious, the sound of a beast refusing to let go. The soldier steadied himself against the slanting floor, rifle still trained on the void. He pressed the boy tighter, his heart hammering like a drum. He didn't move. Not forward. Not back. The whispers screamed louder, pounding until the sound blurred into pain. "Help me. Help me. Choose. Please." The intruder shrieked laughter again, his voice cracking high. "They'll take the cabin down. You'll fall whether you choose or not." The soldier's jaw clenched, breath sharp. His words ripped back like steel. "Then I'll fall with him in my arms." The shepherd barked again, loud enough to shake the rafters. The boy sobbed louder, trembling. And then the boards gave another sharp crack, this time near the wall, not the hatch. A beam splintered. The cabin leaned hard, snow spilling through new cracks in the shutter. The whispers shrieked in triumph. "Choose." The soldier steadied himself, boy clutched tight, rifle braced. His chest rose sharp, breath ragged. His eyes narrowed into the dark. "Then show me what I'm choosing against." The boards tore wide. The cabin leaned so hard the soldier had to widen his stance, boots sliding an inch across the warped boards. Snow blasted through the shutters now, whirling dust and flakes into the dark. The boy whimpered into his chest, small hands twisted into his coat. The shepherd braced low, claws raking grooves into the wood, still guarding the widening hatch with bloodied jaws. The whispers stopped. For one long breath, silence filled the cabin again. The intruder froze in his corner, eyes wide. Even the shepherd stilled, growl rumbling low but steady. The boy hiccuped sobs into the soldier's coat, too scared to raise his head. Then it came. One word. Choose. Not layered. Not frantic. Clear. Sharp. The soldier's pulse slammed against his ribs. He tightened his arms around the boy, rifle angled at the void. Choose. The voice pressed into the room from everywhere at once. Not above. Not below. Not outside. It came from the air itself, vibrating the boards, humming in the rafters. The intruder groaned, his face pale. His voice cracked. This is it. This is where they make you decide. The shepherd barked once, savage, chest vibrating with sound. The boy flinched, but clung tighter. Choose. The soldier's jaw clenched. His voice came out low, steady, carrying weight. I've already made my choice. The boy lifted his face an inch, tears streaking his cheeks. His whisper cracked raw. Don't let them take me. Choose. The floor trembled. Boards bent inward, nails snapping from joists. The air grew colder, the storm's howl pushing harder through the cracks. Dust poured upward in thick clouds, choking. The intruder's laugh cracked high again, but this time it broke into a sob. You think you can outlast them? Nobody outlasts them. You'll give in. Everyone does. The soldier swung the rifle toward him, sight locked, voice sharp. Not today. Choose. The shepherd lunged at the crack, snapping another reaching hand, dragging it down until bone split. The body below shrieked, lost under the weight of the word. Choose. It came faster now, sharper, pounding like a drumbeat. The boy sobbed, fists pounding weakly against the soldier's coat. Don't let them. The soldier pressed him tighter, his own heart hammering. His words broke out like steel against iron. You're not getting him. The floor split again, half the boards caving downward, exposing the void below. The shepherd barely kept footing, claws tearing trenches in the wood. Its growl rose louder, desperate but unyielding. Choose. 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 Each repetition louder, faster, until it was all the soldier could hear. His skull throbbed, vision blurred. He grit his teeth until they ached, forcing his body to stand ground. The intruder screamed now, half crazed, half pleading. Give them the boy. It's the only way you walk out alive. The soldier's rifle swung toward him again. You open your mouth one more time, I end it. Choose. The boy sobbed louder, small voice cracking, words spilling raw. Please, please don't let them. The soldier lowered his head, pressing his jaw to the child's hair, his own voice steady despite the roar. You're safe. I don't hand over my own. Choose. The shepherd barked again, savage, throwing its body across the widening crack. It snapped at every pale arm that reached, dragging them down into the void. Blood sprayed, dust rained, the air choked with iron and dirt. The soldier steadied his boots, pulled the boy higher against him, and roared into the dark. Then take me. Choose. The words slammed into the cabin like a hammer blow. The rafters groaned, beams splitting. Snow poured in through the roof cracks. The intruder screamed, covering his ears, blood leaking between his fingers. His voice cracked into madness. You'll die with him. Is that the choice you want? The soldier's voice ripped back, breaking with fury but solid as iron. If that's the choice, then yes. The boy clutched tighter, sobbing harder. Don't go, don't go. Choose. The floor bent down, one joist snapping, the cabin tilting hard. The shepherd scrambled but planted itself again, holding firm. Its growl rose louder, the only sound pushing back against the word. Choose. The soldier's breath came sharp, chest burning. He knew the moment had come. No more holding ground. No more waiting. His voice broke free, steady, final. I choose him. I choose the boy. The shepherd barked, savage and triumphant, echoing through the cabin. Choose. The word screamed once more, then cut off. The void fell silent. The storm's howl pressed through the cracks again. Dust swirled down in silence. The boards creaked but didn't break further. The intruder lay gasping in his corner, eyes wide with disbelief. The soldier steadied his breath, boy still clutched against him, rifle ready. The shepherd stood rigid, muzzle bloodied, ears locked forward. The silence after the word was heavier than the noise. The silence hung too long to trust. The soldier didn't move. He kept the rifle locked on the split floorboards, boy still clutched to his chest, shepherd standing rigid and trembling at the crack. Snow hissed faintly through roof gaps, a low moan threading the walls. The intruder's ragged breath rattled in the far corner. No whispers. The soldier's ears rang with the ghost of them, his pulse still hammering as though they lingered. He forced air slow into his chest, steadying the rhythm. The boy's face pressed tighter into his coat. His small voice cracked raw. Did they go? The soldier looked down at him, eyes steady, voice even. They're not touching you. The shepherd shifted, sniffing at the gap. It snarled once, low, then went silent again, ears locked forward. The floor creaked. Nothing reached. No pale hands. No whispers. The soldier backed a step, pulling the boy with him, keeping his rifle steady. The intruder groaned, voice broken. It's not over. It never is. They'll come again. The shepherd snapped its head toward him, muzzle dripping red. The intruder flinched back, shoulders striking the wall. The soldier didn't lower the rifle. He moved with discipline, edging the boy toward the door. His boots ground across dust and splinters, careful not to stumble on the fractured boards. The boy whispered again, softer this time. Don't let him find me. The soldier's jaw clenched. He tightened his arm around the child. He won't. The shepherd padded backward with them, never turning its back on the hatch. Its body trembled but it never lost stance. The soldier reached the door. He turned the handle slow, easing it open against the storm. Snow lashed inward, sharp and cold. The boy shivered hard against him, face buried deep. He looked back once. The cabin leaned, beams cracked, lantern gone cold. The intruder stayed in a corner, eyes wide and wild, muttering under his breath. The soldier didn't waste another word on him. Some men had already chosen their side. He stepped into the storm. The wind struck hard, carrying snow sideways. His boots sank deep with each step. He pulled the boy higher, shielding him with his body. The shepherd trotted at his side, ears back, eyes scanning white horizons. The cabin groaned behind them, then a crack rang out like a gunshot. Wood buckled. The roof slumped inward. Snow poured through shattered rafters. The soldier didn't look back again. The boy trembled in his arms, voice so soft it nearly disappeared into the wind. It's quieter now. The soldier bent his head, speaking close to the boy's ear so he'd hear over the storm. That's because you're safe. The shepherd barked once, sharp and clear, carrying into the snow. It wasn't warning. It was triumph. The soldier's chest eased for the first time since the whispers began. His boots pressed on through the drifts, each step heavier but steadier. The storm swallowed the cabin behind them, erasing the sound of splintering wood. The boy's voice came again, softer, calmer. You didn't leave me. The soldier's throat tightened. He answered low, steady. Never. The shepherd brushed close to his leg, its body warm even against the cold. The boy's hands clutched less desperately now, but still firm. Snow blurred everything ahead. No clear path. No safe ground guaranteed. But the soldier walked anyway. One step. Then another. The storm howled. The boy breathed. The dog guarded. That was enough. And for the first time, the whispers didn't follow. The soldier didn't know how long they pressed through the snow. The storm made hours into minutes, minutes into hours. But finally the trees broke ahead, black silhouettes through white haze. Shelter waited somewhere beyond. He stopped once, adjusting the boy in his arms. The child stirred, lifting his face to the cold air. His eyes were tired but no longer frantic. He whispered soft, almost too quiet to hear. "Thank you." The soldier's jaw clenched. His voice stayed low, steady. "No need. You're mine to carry." The shepherd trotted ahead a few steps, then looked back, ears sharp. It waited for them to follow. The soldier set his boots forward again. Snow closed the path behind, erasing every trace they'd been there. The cabin's ruin belonged to the storm now. His chest rose steady. He knew one thing, the choice he made would never leave him. And maybe that was the point. Some stories don't end. They stay with you. And as he pressed on through the storm, boy in his arms and dog at his side, he knew this was one of them.